So, a few weeks ago, I did a video regarding the possible cap casualties that the Cowboys could experience in 2021. One of those notable players was Tyron Smith. Now, I didn't go into a full detailed discussion of what could the Cowboys do to replace him or, the more underlying reasons. It was just more so how much money the Cowboys could save and just the basic reasons for why the Cowboys could move on from him. So in this video, we're going to try and accomplish, having that open dialogue now of what should the Cowboys do with Tyron Smith and what's going to happen and what I think should happen. So before we go any further, if you guys could please make sure to leave a like on this video. It doesn't take too long to do, just press the button and it helps the channel out a lot. Also, if you're new here, by all means subscribe. About 9 out of 10 of you guys watching are not subscribed, so make sure to hit that red button down below so you're subscribed and you don't miss out on new content when it drops. And most importantly of all, make sure to hit that notification bell so it ensures that content that drops is in your sub box and you get notified when it does release. Now, going back to Tyron Smith. Now, if you are now just catching on to this entire dialogue, which if you're a Cowboys fan, you should be aware of the situation if you're following the team. Tyron's 30 years old now, and you might say, well, that's pretty young, relatively speaking. He's more middle-aged to the older side, but he's been in the league for 10 plus years. I believe he's going on 11 years now in the NFL, and that's just crazy, to say the least, that he's been in the league that long. When he first came into the league, he was a 20-year-old prospect out of USC, and starting out with the Cowboys, he was a fantastic cornerstone for the Cowboys to build off of in terms of making that offensive line elite and protect Tony Romo at the time, and then things have changed. But he's accumulated a ton of mileage on his body, having all that time, in the trenches. It takes a lot on you, and especially with how long he's been playing. And early on in his career, up until the 2015 season, I believe he only missed one game or two. So he was that guy that you can depend on. And it's like, hey, he's the best tackle in the league. He's reliable. He's at the best at his craft. But things have changed. Since 2015, he has yet to play a full season. 2016, 17, 18, and 19 and 20, no full season played. And a lot of it is a couple of the nagging stuff, it was, the back, the knee, now the neck. It's just been the reoccurring issues, and it's not necessarily his fault. It's not that he's having poor condition. It's just as you play in the NFL, especially when it's at a physical position such as offensive lineman, unless you're like a out of this world, physical specimen, you're going to break down. And, sure, Tyron, you can argue, is that? But now that he's had so much time in the NFL, now it's becoming a problem, Now we have to worry about the offensive line once again. A lot of people took for granted the elite offensive line play. We haven't had an elite offensive line since 2016. And I think that if the Cowboys are going to look to be a contender or even a playoff team, they're going to need to address this situation on the offensive line, specifically at injecting youth. And so I'm not saying the Cowboys should immediately let go of Tyron Smith, because they can if they want to. It's not like that if they cut him, they're losing money. Really, the way I look at it is right now, he has 4 years left on his deal. He becomes an unrestricted free agent in 2024. And the way I look at it right now, according to Spot Track or Spotrack, whatever you want to call it, he currently, if we release him before June 1st, we would be taking a bunch of dead cap. However, once we get to the post June 1st territory, the Cowboys would be able to save about $10 million. Now, me personally, I do think that the Cowboys should seriously consider, if Rashawn Slater is on the board at 10, you might have to take him. And I know you guys are going to hate me for saying that, especially with all the needs we have on defense. But hear me out, okay? The reason the reason I could see the Cowboys doing such a maneuver is because they need to invest in that left tackle position. We cannot just slap someone there and hope he does his job. We don't want to hurt our quarterback, right? If you give Dak Prescott that long-term deal that he's coveting, and that's $37 to $40 million, I want my quarterback and investment to be protected. But more importantly, it really comes down to what moves the Cowboys do in free agency. If the Cowboys do not seriously address the positions of corner, defensive tackle, or whatever, you're going to end up having to force their hand and take a defensive player, which I don't want to do. I want to be able to deal with all that crap in free agency. And so Rashawn Slater is an option in the draft, or Alex Leatherwood, as long as he's there in the second round. I don't know what's going to happen there, but there are options for the Cowboys in the draft that I really do like. The next option is who we have on the roster, right? You currently have a guy in Connor Williams who I think is more suited to play tackle than left guard. Hate to say it, but it's true. He's just not a good fit there. Sure, last year he was able to play I believe every single game, maybe except one, but they really should be looking at Connor Williams as being that tackle that he really is. I know the Cowboys have just tried to, rather than fidget him around, they wanted to stick him at left guard to try and have some consistency there. And that's been a problem for us ever since Ronald Leary left still. And I think that if the Cowboys can figure out who's winning that battle between Connor Williams and Connor McGovern, which I do believe Connor McGovern is more suited for the guard position, and I believe you have him for 2 more years as of this juncture. So I think that you can roll with him to get some cheap labor there. So really the Cowboys have to address that left tackle position, okay? Also, they have to address that right tackle position in the sense we don't know what La'el Collins is going to look like coming back from that hip surgery, okay? So that further could justify the selection of a Rashawn Slater at pick 10, or if you're going to go with a lineman in round 2. So there's a lot of time from now till the NFL draft, but if you're asking me if there's an offensive player I would take, it's going to be Rashawn Slater if he's on the board. No wide receivers, none of that, unless you've addressed every single position in free agency, which I know the Cowboys won't do. With Tyron being released, you open up some cap space that can help this defense. You can help put some pieces on this defense. Now, do I think they'll do that? No. I think that they're going to roll. I would roll with Tyron for another year if he's able to hold up. I think I need to see one more year, considering the fact that he played a majority of the games from 2016 onward up until this year, which was a bit of an anomaly year. But if things do repeat themselves and he gets hurt again, we're going to have to let him go. So it really comes down to how are things looking with the Cowboys in free agency, and can I justify taking a Rashawn Slater or whoever in the draft, or do we need to go all out on defense? So that I want to hear from you guys in the comment section, because I know in my most recent mock draft that I did on Monday, I did take Rashawn Slater, and some people were not happy with that because why are we taking a tackle? Because we need defense to help us out. My thing is this, and I'll reiterate this over and over again. When you look at the Cowboys offensive line, I look at it this way. If everyone's fully healthy, the Cowboys have a really damn good offensive line. If everyone's holding up and doing the best they can. You have Tyron at left tackle. When he's upright, he's a good to great offensive lineman that can hold his own. At left guard, you're average, slightly below average currently with Connor Williams, but if you put Connor McGovern there, he's, I would say, above average to average. Center, you have it's a bit inconclusive for me. I need to see more from Tyler Biadasz. I think he did fine in his time. At right guard, you have the best guard in the league, in my honest opinion, other than Quentin Nelson. I think Quentin Nelson, honestly, he's probably the best guard in the league now. But Zach Martin, he's just been a huge part of that offensive line. He got hurt, and he's, elite. Then right tackle, you have La'el Collins, who's really coming to his own over the past couple of years since we put him at right tackle. So ultimately, the Cowboys need to seriously address this offensive line in a realistic perspective, because you have a left tackle that you don't know what's going to happen with him, and he's at a point to, you might have to get rid of him because of how much you're paying him and just what you're getting out of him. You might have a situation where maybe Lyell isn't as good as we, in terms of coming back from the injury. Maybe we're screwed there. So you might end up having to you might have to end up getting someone like that, and you might have to move this line around again. But I don't want to get to that point. But to finalize my thoughts, I believe that the Dallas Cowboys need to seriously think about the possibility of moving on from Tyron Smith this offseason. I'm not saying they should. They need to think about it because of the money they're paying him, the possibility of getting a young, fresh talent in here that has a ton of, the biggest thing is youth, right? They're young. They're going to be able to take those hits, and they're going to be able to not get injured, hopefully, God willing. And you go forward from there with a young guy to try and re-energize this offensive line. But I can see him sticking on this team for another year, but now we're starting to have questions. So I think you can justify a Rashawn Slater pick still, and I wouldn't mind it. I think I'd be excited about that pick considering what we've been going through. But if the Cowboys do decide to take Rashawn Slater, it's because they're moving on from Tyron Smith, or they're gonna probably, I don't know why you would push him into left guard, but I could see that too. So Cowboys have a lot of decisions to make this offseason, and one of them is Tyron Smith. I don't think that they will make that decision in terms of cutting him, but I think ultimately it's time to start that conversation now going forward. So, and by the way, I don't think you can trade Tyron Smith. I think you can maybe trade him for a second or third round pick, not a first round pick anymore. He is his value has gone down. So I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys with that. I've gone on for long enough. By all means, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and comment down below how you feel about Tyron Smith. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.